More than 1,200 Israelis were killed on October 7th, and 136 remain hostage. In response, 27,478 Palestinians have been killed, 70% of whom are women and children. And most Gazans today cannot reach a fully functioning hospital. This is not war. This is slaughter. And yet, after all this destruction and devastation, the Netanyahu government is still nowhere close to their stated objective of destroying Hamas. Moreover, the United States has our own requirements outlining the transfer of weapons to forces engaged in gross human rights violations. We have a responsibility to honor those laws, to facilitate a bilateral ceasefire, to move to end this campaign of mass casualty and loss of life that risks bringing the entire region closer to a wider, deadlier conflict. This bill contains $17 billion on top of the billions we already transfer every year with no conditions and no humanitarian aid for the most vulnerable. Everyday Americans should not tolerate this squandering of our resources without oversight on such an inhumane and ineffective operation, especially when we are living paycheck to paycheck and they cannot see their Congress address their most basic material concerns. I yield back.
Okay, so 3 points, right? So she wants for the unconditional support for Israel to stop. She wants a ceasefire, and she's also making a point. She wants the support for Israel to stop. She wants a ceasefire, and she's also saying that this war on Gaza is going to increase a conflict in the Middle East, wider conflict in the Middle East. Okay, so she's wrong on point 1 and on point 2. And also on point 3. All right, so let's go through it one by one. Okay, so here's the thing: supporting Israel is saving Palestinian lives. I don't understand, like, if this is an understandable concept. Okay, so when Israelis die, there is a backlash, and because of that backlash, more Palestinians die. So when United States increases Israel's defense mechanism, less Israelis die, and as a result, less Palestinians die. If you stop supporting Israel and it's easier to kill Israelis, as a result, more Palestinians will die. Is that complicated? Do you understand what I just said? It's a very simple concept. Like, I know these people like don't seem to care about Israelis, but they act like they care about Palestinians. But if you care about Palestinians, then you should want United States to support Israel even more. And then the second point, the ceasefire point, right? They keep giving you the numbers of people who are dying in this war. The number of people who are suffering matters the most. That's the main thing that matters. But they are zooming in on what's happening right now and fail to consider the wider implications of a ceasefire, right? They think that the objective of Israel's military into going to Gaza is to reach a certain number of people dead. They're like, oh, they killed 1,200, but you're now reaching 30,000. So I'm sure that's enough. That would be enough if you're an idiot. Like, if you think that Israel's government is like, okay, let's go kill 30,000, I don't know, civilian and make sure half of them are children. If that was the objective, then yeah, maybe like reaching a certain number would make you like, okay, let's go back now. We have retaliated like this. They killed 1,200 and now we killed this many, and that's good. But that's not the objective. The objective should be to make sure that Hamas cannot regain power. Again, the objective that unfortunately the objective that they defined initially was to completely wipe out Hamas, which is an unreasonable objective. So that was a big mistake at the beginning. The objective should have been a more reasonable achievable objective would have been to just remove Hamas from power. Make sure that Hamas will never be able to regain control over Gaza ever again. That's a reasonable objective. And you have to reach that objective. And the cost is very high. But if you go in and this many people die and don't reach that objective, you would have to pay this price in civilian casualties again and again and again on both sides. And it's going to reach a higher number of civilian casualties if you quit now. This is what needs to be explained to people. Why are pro-Israeli people not explaining this? This is how you should say it. Like, I see a lot of pro-Israeli people, and they're not saying this. I don't. Did what I just say make sense? Yes, we do care about civilian casualties. The civilian casualties will be higher if you quit right now. You're in Gaza. You're at almost the very last stage to make sure that you cut Hamas from power. If you quit now, if you do ceasefire now, without completely destroying Hamas's ability to regain power, you would eventually have to pay this many civilian casualties again at some point. So even if you care about civilian casualties not dying, because you pretend like you do, this is more about being anti-Israel, but let's assume that you do care about civilian casualties, then you should be like, okay, finish the job. Don't quit now. Like asking for a ceasefire right now is asking for more Palestinians dying. Maybe not right now, but eventually down the road. So you act like you're pro-peace. You're acting like you're pro-Palestinian by asking for a ceasefire right now. But all you're doing is getting some civilians not dying today, but more civilians eventually dying in the future at some point again. Hamas has to be removed from power. If you quit now, they will regain power. And all of this would be for nothing. Oh, the most idiotic point at the end she made. She's like, oh, this is turning into a wider conflict in the region. Are you freaking serious? If you are attacked and you don't respond, that is going to increase conflict in the region more. The main tool anybody ever has to reduce conflict is to advertise their deterring capabilities. The only reason why so many people are not storming right now in Israel to completely annihilate Israel is because they're seeing what's happening in Gaza. It's because they are seeing Israel's deterring capability. Because they were tempted right after October 7th, people were saying like, oh, Israel seems to be weaker than we imagined. Maybe this is the end of Israel. So Israel needs to demonstrate that, look, I have deterring capabilities. Everybody would be lining up for a war right now. The only reason why Hezbollah and the Islamic Republic of Iran is not like starting a full-on confrontational war right now is because of the demonstration of Israel's deterring capabilities. Does that make sense? Like, oh yeah, so you get attacked, just like lay over and take it and hope for war to end. That will increase war. That will not reduce war. That will increase war because people will see you as weak and right for the taking. That's the whole point of having a military, to advertise your deterring capabilities. Saying, I think you have a hidden assumption that retaliatory violence is the only way to have peace. AOC and progressives do not understand that Islamists do not share the value of freedom and flourishing. Okay, here's the thing. That's not a hidden assumption. I tell you that, okay? I tell you that because I follow what these mofos say, okay? Nasrallah came out and said specifically himself that he would have not attacked Israel if he knew Israel would have responded the way they did. They said that. The Islamic Republic officials say that. They know, they see. Every time they doubt Israel's deterring capability, when Israel demonstrates it, they're like, okay, maybe not. Do you know why the Islamic Republic of Iran is now constantly going everywhere and saying, like, you know what, we didn't order Hamas to do this, they did this on their own, even though they back Hamas, they're fully funding Hamas? Because they are scared. They see Israel's power and they're scared. And Hamas is now angry with the Islamic Republic of Iran, because right at the moment where Hamas needed the Islamic Republic's backing the most, now the Islamic Republic is not backing Hamas because they see the power that they have. So there's two things happening. First of all, Islamic Republic is pulling back, but also the other proxies of the Islamic Republic of Iran are taking note that, oh, they provide us with the money and the weaponry to go do the attack, but once we are getting attacked, they pull away. So this is good, because now a lot of other Iranian proxies are going to take note and are going to probably like be less obedient to their masters in Tehran, because they understand that they're not going to get the support when they need it the most, when they are being attacked. So I follow these things. So this is not just an assumption. I know this. I know that the back and forth right now that is happening between the Islamic Republic of Iran and Hamas, and the anger, and also the signaling that is now being sent to the other proxies of the Islamic Republic of Iran. You need to respond. Like, what do you, if you're attacked, if you don't somehow demonstrate your deterrent capabilities, you are basically saying, come kill my civilians. You're advertising to the world, especially a country like Israel, where people have that motivation.